non-Nigerians at the non-Nigerian time, and the activity for the first 15-30 minutes is the morning color. So does everybody have their quizzes all done? So, and you have your counts. So, but okay, before I go through what the results mean, does anybody know what color they would be based on the descriptions at the back?
You talking about now or a year from now?
No, right now.
Right. It's just what it is.
Right. Well, there is no bad color. There are good things about almost every color, and there are always ways to do better. So if you have mostly A's, if your score has mostly A's, like in the count section, if you have high score of A's, then you're great. If you have mostly B's, you're blue. Yeah. If you have mostly C's, you're yellow. And if you have mostly D's, you're gray. And if you have mostly E's, you're red. So, was your color what you thought it was going to be? No. Yours was? And can anybody guess what my color is?
Green.
No?
Blue. Green.
Blue. Blue. Blue, yeah. That's why I'm wearing blue today. Yeah. Yes, I would love to be green. I really would love to be. But I don't think I take enough risk, and I'm not really that inclined towards investment. So it is,
What it
you
is.
know, like I said, every color is good. But the most important thing to know is that most of us are a combination of colors. A combination. Sometimes you'll be, green, and you could be, yellow, or some other times you could be blue like me, and then it could be a mixture of, yellow. But the good thing to know is to understand, especially for those of you in business, to understand what your color is and to see how you can reduce some of the risks that are, associated with your color. For example, if you're yellow, you have to understand that the fact that you love the most expensive shoes doesn't mean that everybody else loves them. And you should buy, you should then buy it, and I think everybody should buy it from you. If you're a yellow business person, if you're a green business person, you have to understand that it's better to seek advice from people that know perhaps much more than you know when you want to invest your money. For somebody who is great, you could give them the best business idea, they would rationalize it, and if they don't have money, they would borrow to fund that business. Not having money isn't something that's going to stop a green person from starting a business, because at every point in time, they're thinking about doing business. So what happens most of the time is that an economy that has a lot of green people progresses a lot, because that's where you have a lot of small businesses. You have people who are employing others. You have people who are really making money, for the whole place. Unlike when you have an economy that's full of blue people like me, we're very conservative. We're pretty much set on, look, let me put my money in some stable fund, and let me see that it's there. You see a green person, they lose money from some business that they've done, and they move on to the next business, because they can just do that. They can emotionally get over that whole hurdle. But a blue person, when we lose money, because it took us so long to get the courage to even do the business in the first instance, losing the money is like you're taking the person back to point zero. So what do you do if you're blue? Should you not start a business? You should. But one of the things that I think happens to somebody who is blue is that it's not that you're not business inclined, it's that you want something you can control. So a blue person will most likely not want to go to the stock market and invest their money in the stock market, because somebody else is controlling those companies. So if maybe something happened to Tyco at some point, all my money is gone because I put my faith in somebody else, and I cannot manage the affairs of that company. So it's like almost ridiculous. But if you look at, you have to look within you and see, what do you like? What do you love? You can be an employee. There's nothing wrong with being somebody's employee. But if you want to be an employer, the best thing is to look for what you like. And if, for example, what you like is organizing lives, and that's what you're passionate about, you might decide that, maybe I cannot start this business alone. Maybe I will start with somebody else. Maybe we can get a little cooperative together, and then it will not be as risky for me. Or I can get somebody who is green to buy into my passion, and the person will bring the money while I run the business. That could be something that could be done. What if you're yellow? Yellow is, is great. I have a sister that's yellow, so there's nothing wrong with that color. A yellow person, if the iPhone 7 came out right now, they will probably they will be the first people on the line in Best Buy.
Wow.
Yeah. Now this is the thing about somebody who is yellow. It's not necessarily a problem, but you can, because you feel like as a yellow person that you work hard, and so you have to reward yourself. A yellow person will tell you, look, you know what, you only live once, so let me just do this. So they might not necessarily be in debt, but they might not invest money in the right things. If you're yellow, the best thing to think about is to say, I want to maintain this lifestyle that I'm living right now. I want to maintain it in the next 20 years. So how are you going to maintain that lifestyle if you don't invest some money today? So my advice to somebody who is yellow is, find something you're passionate about and do it. Something that gives you happiness. There's like, if I walked into a room full of shoes, I probably would not be excited, because I'm not really a shoe person. But somebody who is yellow, who has the largest collection of like whatever brand of shoes out there, why don't you start something, a shoe lovers club, a shoe, something that when you get to that business, even you are excited. But the goal is to realize that not everybody might be excited about that same thing that you are excited about. So make sure that you find a business reason for what you're trying to do, as a business. Make sure that you're not trying to start like a designer shoe business where each pair of shoes is $500 in a low income inner city neighborhood. What's the point? And another thing that you can think about as a yellow person is, how about that your closet full of clothes? Last season's clothes. You can always like transfer it and do a yard sale. I remember like last year we had a ball for our foundation in Nigeria. So I bought a dress. In January, I bought another dress for the Obama ball. Then in March, we had another ball in DC. I bought another dress. So now I have these 3 dresses. I don't know what to wear them to. And my sister, who is yellow, she said, why don't you sell them on eBay? She was like, and I didn't think about that. But she's yellow. This is what she's like, you're not going to wear this dress another ball because you've already taken pictures in that dress. Which is why I didn't wear one of them today, because because I really wanted to, but she said you took pictures everywhere you went. You took pictures, so why are you going to wear the dress again? So you can sell them on the internet and get somebody else to buy them. That will be their own fashion. So that's what a yellow person thinks about. That's where they make their own money. So how about somebody who is gray? I wrote this with the very religious people in mind. The people who are gray, and they are all around us. They're people who, they're simple. Many women are not gray. Just FYI. I didn't write, when I was writing these colors, I had women in mind for some colors, men in mind for some colors. For gray, I had no woman in mind. Because no matter how simple a woman is, I just haven't met a completely gray woman yet. They will always be vain about something in particular. a gray person is so useful to the economy, but they're the ones who don't know their potential. A gray person is the supplier of what I call patient capital. For example, if there was a village in Nigeria that didn't have water, and if you sunk a borehole in there, people are willing to pay 10 cents for a can of water. That might not sound like a good idea to me. Why? Why would I want to do that? When am I ever going to get my money back? But a gray person is probably going to like that. Because for a gray person, money is not really a driver of happiness. They want to have just enough to be comfortable, just enough not to be on the streets. But at the same time, they don't want money to be the biggest driver of their life's mission. They don't want money to be like, the thing that makes them, they're not really greedy. They're not looking towards investment. They're fine as long as their, light bill is paid, the candle is paid, everything is paid, they're fine, they're okay. So, but as a gray person, if you're gray, I say step out of your, step out of your comfort zone and go invest in a business that does the world some good. You can build a school, or you can join others to build a school. And, the returns might not come in 20 years' time, but you know that someday they probably will come, and if they don't come, you're doing something for the world. And why is your capital, important if you're a great person? It's very important because there's so many projects out there in the world right now that people just cannot seem to invest in because they cannot see the returns or the importance or whatever. But you are that person who can bring your little change with somebody else's little change to invest in those businesses. So which brings me to the last color. A red. Well, I remember when I was writing this book, the editor who did the final edit, she said to me, "You need to tone down what you wrote about the red person." So she made me rewrite it like 3 or 4 times because she kept saying it's too harsh. You need to bring it down a little bit, And I was like, I think this is just what I have in mind. And she was like, no, this cannot be right. So I'm going to try, as I talk about a red person right now, I'm going to try to say it perhaps the way it is in the book, not the way I thought about it when I wrote the book. So a red person, if you have a landline and you have 10 phone calls and 9 of them are from debt collectors, you're probably red. The first person is calling about your student loan from your undergrad and you already finished grad school and you haven't paid in the last 3 years. Then your cable company is saying they're going to cut your cable. And, the electric company already cut your electric, so, that's not even part of the issue. You probably can't get a real apartment complex to live in because nobody's going to give you their house. So you're living in somebody's basement because, and you're paying like 2 months in advance. And eventually somebody comes to you and says you should make a budget. And you say, why? I don't want to live my life in chains. I don't want to be constrained by, all this stuff. I'm just going to, be okay. They say, okay, how about when you retire? For real, retire? What about now? I can't even feed right now, so let's not talk about retirement. That's a red person. But, the potential, I was forced to see the potential in the red person. Yeah. After thinking about it a couple of times, I really saw the potential. The potential came from knowing what the real problem with the red person is. And I realized that the real problem with the red person, the way I created them, or the way I've met a couple of reds actually, is that they are afraid. It's fear. Just like I'm afraid of losing my money in the stock market, they are also afraid of things not working out, or that things did not work out in the past. Or if I call the credit card company to, negotiate my debt, they're going to say no. And then now they're going to keep calling me because I already called them to say, I'm willing to pay $5 a month and they whatever. But I say that if anybody's red, and I don't think it's going to get red here. But if I say if you're red, don't be afraid. What's the worst that can happen that didn't already happen? Yeah, what really could happen? What really could go wrong? Already at this point, already like, it's as bad as it's gonna get. So you have to understand what is it that you are entitled to. For example, I didn't know until a couple of years ago that if you're owing people and they keep calling you, you can actually tell them to stop calling you. You have a right to tell them to stop calling you, to stop harassing you. It's your right under the law. So you have to first of all figure out, what is it that I can do or cannot do. And also some creditors just want to be considered. So go and have a conversation with somebody and say, here is the constraint I'm having, and here is the problem I'm, experiencing. Perhaps we can, talk about this and renegotiate this. It can't hurt you. Instead of waiting for it to go away, because it's never going to go away. It's not. So, so that's a summary of the colors. And I think that for anybody, whether you're in business or you are not in business or you are working or whatever, you need to start your financial management life by knowing what your color is. Or what your colors are. Because some people are a combination of colors. And once you know what your color is or what your colors are, you probably can know what is it that is my strength. And one of the reasons why I put on the other side of this every other color is for you to see every other color in there and then see which one you want to copy from, who you want to emulate, and who you don't want to be like. So once you're done with what your colors are, I go on to the next chapter of